All right, so today we're diving into something pretty interesting. Videos disappearing, off of Daystar TV's archives.
Yeah.
Videos don't just disappear, especially not from a Christian network that claims to tell the truth. But that's exactly what happened.
Specifically stuff with Doug Weiss. You're kind of a frequent guest there on Daystar TV. And
entire episodes featuring Doug Weiss deleted without a trace. And the timing? Suspicious. Was Daystar trying to erase something before anyone noticed?
And Rodney Howard Brown got mixed up talking to you and told Jimmy that Doug was texting me or sexting me.
Now, here's what we'll uncover in this video. First, we'll take a deep dive into the timeline that raises serious questions about why these videos went missing. Then, we'll look at Doug Weiss's sudden divorce and why it's tied to this strange series of deletions. And finally, we'll uncover what Daystar might be trying to hide by erasing these episodes. So, stick around as we unravel the truth behind the deleted Doug Weiss episodes.
Daystar, just so everybody knows, is like a Christian television network.
Yes.
Big one, right? And
Yes.
so that's what we're diving into today. And
What's interesting is the timing and the deletions seems to really center around, Doug Weiss being on the episodes.
Yeah.
And it coincides with some pretty big changes that happened in his personal life.
So, why exactly are these episodes disappearing from Daystar's archives? Why would a network, known for its Christian programming, choose to erase content with such a prominent guest?
yeah, so we have like a little bit of a timeline here. It's kind of crazy. So Marcus Lamb, who's the founder of Daystar TV, passed away in late November of 2021. Doug Weiss, a frequent guest on the network. He attended the funeral like early December 2021. So that all seems pretty straightforward, right? But then just weeks later, in late January 2022, Doug Weiss quietly filed for divorce.
Now remember, Doug Weiss wasn't just any guest. He was a regular on Daystar. He was seen as a respected marriage counselor, a man with a stable, loving family life. But as the timeline shows, everything changed behind the scenes.
And this is where things get really kind of interesting because publicly, Doug Weiss continued to present an image of a happy marriage, right?
Yeah.
So that juxtaposition is really key to understanding what might be going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. He was still talking about his wife, in interviews and on air, right? Still projecting this image of marital stability.
Right.
So then we get to April 2022, and Doug Weiss appears on a Daystar TV episode.
Okay.
With Joanne Lamb and Josh Brown. Now, this specific episode, it aired around April 5th. It's been like completely removed from Daystar's website and their archives, like it never even existed.
So it really makes you wonder why that specific episode.
Wow.
What was it about this conversation that Daystar wanted to scrub from the internet?
Well, I mean, the title itself kind of gives us a pretty big clue. It's called How to Parent a Prodigal Child.
Okay.
And Doug Weiss is there promoting his book, Prodigal Parent Process. I mean, think about that. He's on a Christian television network offering parenting advice literally weeks after filing for divorce.
Yeah.
And it creates a very complicated situation.
Yeah, that's a pretty big contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah.
In late January 2022, Doug quietly filed for divorce. And this is where things start to feel off. Publicly, everything seemed fine. Doug was still showing up on Daystar, still presenting himself as a family man, someone to trust when it came to marriage advice. But we're talking about a network that's supposed to uphold Christian values. So, why erase his episodes? Was there something in his personal life that Daystar didn't want the public to know? Maybe these deleted episodes weren't just about Doug Weiss's personal life. They could have been about something much bigger. Was Daystar trying to protect their reputation, or were they trying to protect Doug Weiss from public scrutiny?
And we've been looking at this transcript from Truth and Spirit Network. They did a whole thing on this. And they point out how Doug Weiss is just making these like casual offhand remarks about his wife and family in the present tense.
Wow.
Throughout this whole episode, like there's these little moments where he says things like, my daughter's my daughter and I love daughters. And then he talks about how my wife come from a family of like four girls. He's painting this picture of an intact family life, while in reality, legally, his marriage is ending.
And what's really interesting is that there was like audience interaction during this too. So somebody named Marianne submitted a question about being estranged from her son due to a divorce.
Oh, wow.
And here he is presenting himself as this, family expert while privately navigating his own marital breakdown.
It really does feel like a missed opportunity. Like instead of just presenting this image, right, he could have offered a really powerful message like of hope and resilience in the face of these personal challenges. But instead, there was this like carefully constructed presentation.
Right. A very specific narrative that he was trying to present.
Exactly. Yeah. After it originally aired on Daystar. So
Could it be that Daystar wasn't just trying to protect their image, but Doug Weiss's? Maybe they wanted to shield him from the public backlash. As a marriage counselor, his personal life could now be seen as contradictory to the advice he was offering. And let's not forget, he was a regular guest, not some random appearance. Removing his episodes might have been a way to soften the blow of his divorce, to keep him from facing public scrutiny.
So just picture this.
Oh, right.
Joanie Lamb is sitting there with Doug Weiss, having this on-air conversation, knowing full well that he is in the middle of a divorce.
And she even knew about the marital problem.
Yeah, according to the information that's out there. She even recommended a counselor to them.
Wow.
So, it really makes you wonder why she would allow him to portray this image to the audience.
Yeah, why would she let him present himself that way?
Yeah, and Doug Weiss himself, he even recounts a conversation where Joanie Lamb, kind of expressed hope for an epiphany on his part, implying that she knew the marriage was over.
Okay.
It's a very strange situation.
Yeah, that's pretty strange.
He's on her network talking about being a family man, promoting a book on parenting, while his actual family life is dissolving.
Yeah.
And she seems to be totally aware of it.
And if we connect this back to, the whole question about the deleted videos, it looks like there was a strong desire to maintain a certain image or narrative, even if it meant not being totally transparent at the time.
And this whole lack of public transparency, this went on for a while.
Really?
But no matter what the true reason is, we may never know the full extent of what was happening behind the scenes. Daystar's decision to delete these videos raises serious questions about their commitment to transparency and the lengths they'll go to protect their brand.
Reportedly, Doug Weiss didn't publicly acknowledge his divorce.
Wow.
For about a year after it was finalized in early 2022.
So a whole year of silence.
Yeah, and his explanation, from the information we have, is that he wanted to protect his daughter's feelings and, her interactions with his clients, a lot of whom are dealing with their own sensitive issues.
Yeah, so from a personal standpoint, you can definitely understand that impulse, right? To shield your daughter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But professionally, for a guy who is giving guidance to people about relationships, it just creates a really huge disconnect with his public persona.
Yeah.
Right?
It just doesn't quite add up.
Yeah. And it wasn't just that one episode that vanished from Daystar. Almost all of Doug Weiss's other Daystar TV appearances from 2022.
Okay.
They've been deleted too.
All of them?
All except for one.
Oh, really? So there's one left?
Yeah. And this with the timeline gets even weirder. There's this episode called Indestructible.
Okay.
It aired December 12th, 2022. Just over 2 weeks later, on December 31st, 2022, Doug Weiss proposes to Joanie Lamb.
Oh, wow.
A public engagement before a public acknowledgement of his divorce.
So he hadn't even, officially come out and said that he was divorced.
And then the announcement of the divorce, this doesn't happen until February of 2023 through a now deleted Facebook post.
Okay.
There was this joint statement with his ex-wife Lisa, and it said that they were no longer married as of spring 2022, and asked for privacy.
Okay.
And then 1 month after that, March 2023, Joannie Lamb announces her engagement to Doug Weiss on Instagram, calling him a godly man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, right?
That's a very quick turnaround.
It really is, yeah.
So what do you think? Was Daystar trying to protect Doug Weiss's reputation? Or were they trying to cover up something more serious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video if you think the truth is being hidden, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of Christian TV and the secrets they may not want you to know. This is just the beginning. The mystery of Daystar continues, and we'll be here to uncover more. Stay tuned, and as always, keep questioning the world around you. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.
And on that note, turn to your neighbor and say, scoop me up something to munch on.
Let's take a quick moment to show some love. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And hey, if you want to be in the know, ring that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Join the party in the comments section. We want to hear what you think.